Hello to all the dog owners in Payson. You know, living here is pretty special, with everything from our quiet neighborhoods to the incredible Wasatch Front right in our backyard. We put this guide together to help you find that perfect trainer so you and your dog can enjoy all of it together, happily and safely.
So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about what actually makes a trainer great. Then, we'll look at the different kinds of training formats out there. After that, it's the practical stuff, costs and local rules right here in Payson. We'll also arm you with some key questions to ask. And finally, we'll share some awesome local spots to put all that new training to work.
All right, first things first. What really makes a great trainer? You know, it's about so much more than just teaching sit and stay. The right person gets the Payson lifestyle. They understand you want a dog who is calm at home, but also ready for an adventure on a nearby trail. And that all starts with their training philosophy.
And this right here is really the foundation of almost all modern, effective dog training. It's called positive reinforcement. The idea is simple. You reward the behavior you want to see again. It builds this incredible bond of trust, and honestly, it makes your dog want to work with you. That's way more reliable than training based on fear or correction.
Okay, so how do you know if a trainer really knows their stuff? Well, Utah doesn't have a state license for dog trainers, so certifications like these are a huge green flag. They show that a trainer is serious about their education and follows professional, science-backed methods. The CPD-TK is a really solid common one. KPUA is famous for its focus on positive methods, and that last one, the IIBC certification, that's for trainers who handle more complex issues like serious fear or aggression.
So now that we have an idea of what to look for in a trainer, let's talk about how the training is actually done. There are a few different formats, and this is all about figuring out which one is the best fit for your dog, your lifestyle, and your goals.
These are the two you'll see most often. Group classes, they're fantastic for puppies or any dog that needs to learn how to focus when other dogs and people are around. It's a safe, controlled way to practice for the real world. Private lessons, on the other hand, are your go-to if you're tackling a specific problem. Like maybe your dog goes crazy when the doorbell rings, or if your pup is just too shy or distracted for a group environment.
You might also see some of these other options. Board and train programs are super intensive. They can really give your dog a head start. Day training is a nice in-between option if you have a busy schedule. And in-home sessions are just perfect for those behaviors that, only happen at home, like jumping on guests or stealing food off the counter.
All right, let's get into the practical side of things. We're going to talk about what you can expect to budget for training here in the Payson area, and we'll also go over some of the local rules that every dog owner should know.
Let's talk money. So looking at costs in Payson and around Utah County, things seem pretty reasonable. You can see a 6-week group class usually runs somewhere between $140 and $250. A single private lesson is about $100. And then, of course, the more immersive programs, like a board and train, are a much bigger investment. Just remember, these prices often go up with a trainer's experience and certifications.
And of course, being a great dog owner also means being a great neighbor. The local rules are pretty standard here. In Payson, your dog has to be on a leash anytime you're not on your own property. The state of Utah requires a rabies vaccination, so make sure that tag is always on their collar. And then there's nuisance barking. Good training can really help you get ahead of that so it doesn't become a problem.
Okay, this section is a big one. We're going to give you the exact questions you need to ask when you're interviewing a trainer. Think of this as your checklist to make sure you're finding the absolute best fit for you and your dog.
This is it. This is your number one most important question. The answer they give tells you pretty much everything you need to know about their approach. You want to hear a clear, enthusiastic commitment to reward-based training. If you hear words like dominance, alpha, or talk about physical corrections, that's a sign to probably keep looking.
But definitely don't stop there. You'll also want to ask about their certifications, what we just talked about. Ask them how they'll create a plan just for your dog, not a one-size-fits-all approach. How will you know you're making progress? Also, be sure to get a clear picture of all the costs up front, especially travel fees if they come to you. And for any behavior stuff, it's a really good sign if they're willing to coordinate with your vet.
And now for our final section, and it's a fun one. So you've started training, now where can you go to practice all these new skills? Let's look at some fantastic local spots right here in our area.
This is where the training really comes to life. The Payson Bark Park is of course your go-to for safe, off-leash practice with recall and social skills. For on-leash work with lots of distractions, people, water, maybe even some wildlife, the Payson Lakes area is perfect. If you need a calmer spot for just practicing polite leash walking, the grounds around the Petitney Museum are great.
And for building up that focus and stamina, the Utah County Trail System is fantastic.
So we hope this helps you on your search. The work you put in now really does pay off. You end up with a confident, well-behaved dog that can be a wonderful part of your daily life, whether you're just hanging out at home, having company over, or getting out and exploring everything that makes our community so great.